What's up, brewskis? You see how smooth I did that this time?
That's pretty good.
Thank you.
No pressure.
None. Not at all. Listen, the reason that I beefed on that last week was because I was trying to get Andino's introduction right.
Sure.
And all I could think about was not messing up, and the first thing I did was mess up.
Psyched yourself out.
I did.
Yeah.
It was too much thinking. I should have just gone into it.
Just do.
Like a natural. The natural that I am.
Yeah. You forgot.
I did. I just
forgot who this is.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Dale Earnhardt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never forget.
My name is Marco Dupa, actually, and with me, as always, is the great, the powerful Adam Obesius Rodriguez.
What up, brewskis?
Tonight's brew is from Red Light Brew Pub. It's the Roses Kolsch, and Obi's going to have a little bit more about that after the break. What's on tap for tonight? You know, we have to recap The Last of Us. They got pushed back a couple days for the big game.
Sure.
Don't want to call it what it is because, God forbid,
Yeah.
they come after this
Right.
big old podcast.
I'm pretty sure we already got struck in some degree for saying the F word earlier in the last episode.
Oh,
so,
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty early. That was like 30 seconds into
Pretty
the show.
much, yeah. Pretty much right after that.
So we're going to recap the latest episode of The Last of Us. What else do we got?
We also have a bevy of trailer trash.
Trailer trash. And Antman and the Wasp, Quantumania, is out as of this recording.
Right.
And it is getting thrashed by critics. So we're going to talk a little bit about that.
Sure.
And what else?
We will also talk about... I don't know.
I Am Legend.
I Am Legend.
Yeah, that's right.
I Am Legend 2.
I Am Legend 2.
Electric
Boogaloo.
Boogaloo.
All that and probably nothing else. We'll see.
Yeah, it's pretty much.
But before we do any of that, we got to get into this fucking podcast. So let's start it off right. This is episode 382 of the One Beer In podcast.
Just clip my fingernails.
Yeah, these girls were rolling around.
To be found by someone to save you when you're down. Yes, I'm bored when it's bright out. So bored when it's bright out. 4 to 5 a.m.
Oh, tell me about it.
takes me to a place where
I'm going to drive out to SeaWorld every day. Awful.
Having to come in and out of Oviedo sucks.
Yeah.
Like Oviedo, there's like 10 minutes of traffic just to get out of Oviedo. Now,
Sure. Yeah.
You know, back in my day,
We had a tractor.
this place used to be
2 dirt roads.
Man, you didn't have to. You could just drive around at your leisure,
And we did.
and you didn't have to worry about anything. But you know, maybe getting pulled over by the cops and having like 8 of them show up to search your car. But other than that, you had nothing else to worry
They'll
about.
still do it.
Yeah.
I don't think that's changed.
All right, this is the One Beer In podcast, the podcast where 2 brews crack open a brew and we see where that one brew takes us. So, Obi, without further ado, you have a little bit more about this here Roses Kolsch.
I sure do, my friend. This is the Roses Kolsch from Red Light, as you said. It's a Kolsch-style ale with a Petite Syrah grapes. Comes in at 5.2% ABV. And I'm going to the Red Light official Instagram for a little bit more info. It wouldn't be Galentine's Day. It wouldn't be a Galentine's Day celebration without our Roses Kolsch, brewed in style of Kolsch, but this variation is unfiltered and fermented. Excuse me, with Petite Syrah grapes. Pours a beautiful pink color and crisp with a lovely subtle berry note. Brewed in honor of our favorite Golden Girls, with a portion of proceeds to benefit Pink Boot Society, Florida.
Pink Boot Society. And we've talked a little bit about Pink Boot Society on this show because we've done some beers that they collaborated with before. And so you guys should be familiar with them. If not, I would do a little bit of Googling, a little bit of research. They're doing some very cool things in the industry.
Indeed.
I don't know if we did last year's Roses Kolsch on the pod. But this is obviously a different iteration, so it's
Sure.
not a repeat technically. If we had done last year's,
Yeah.
so
Agreed.
and also it's canned, and look at that beautiful label. I love.
It's
this.
very nice. Yeah.
Throw the rows on rows,
Mm-hmm.
rows on rows on rows.
It's very
The
pretty.
ABV is just slightly higher than the crude Kolsch at 5.2% ABV.
Sure.
All right, let's get rocking. Let's get rocking, ripping, and rolling. Let's start it off with the Last of Us recap.
Okay.
What episode did we last end on? Were we at the latest episode?
We ended on 3, if memory serves.
Okay. So you know what you have to do, right?
Yeah, I do. I do, and I'm not looking forward to it.
Well, I mean, just give us the details.
Okay, fine. Look,
But you don't need to give every detail.
Look, I have the wiki open.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to do my best to do this in like 30 seconds
You
or
could
less.
just read the wiki.
I'm
Just
not
read
going
the
to do
synopsis.
The people want it straight from the horse's
We can give
mouth.
our opinion. Well, you know what? Handle it how you want to handle it.
Okay.
Just fucking do
I'm
it.
gonna. Okay?
Just do it. Get through it.
Episode 4 was Please Hold to My Hand. This one was with Joel and Ellie continuing their trip in the truck that they got last episode. They end up getting attacked by this gang of sorts. They do the little trickaroo that you see in the game. Oh, we should say spoiler alert.
Little trickaroony.
They do the little trickaroony where the guy comes out looking like he's injured. He says, "Please help." Joel says, "Buckle your seatbelt. We ain't gonna help this guy. I know better."
This guy. Fuck this guy.
So, Joel does his Joel thing, kills a bunch of guys. He ends up getting blindsided, by a guy that he didn't see. And then Ellie comes in and shoots him with the gun that Joel didn't know she had. Joel finishes the job, tells her to go away. He stabs the guy. Anyway, we find out that this group is its own group in Kansas City, and Kansas City has just recently been liberated from Fedra. And there's been this revolution, if you will. It's very violent. We get introduced to a new main villain called Kathleen, not from the game. But she seems kind of like a regular lady, but is also hyper violent.
Yeah, like most women.
Sure.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
Anyway, she's the de facto leader of this group in Kansas City. They are out to find Joel and Ellie, who attacked their people, killed some of their people, but also seem to be on the hunt for other people, specifically a character named Henry, who we haven't met yet. Joel and Ellie end up trying to find a way out of the city to escape safely. They end up in a high-rise. They go to bed, and they wake up to a young man and a young boy at gunpoint. And that's where we leave episode 4. Is that good enough for you?
That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
See?
Okay.
Now, was that hard?
Yeah, it was. It's very stressful.
It was great.
Thank you.
I thought the episode was good.
Mm-hmm.
Some nice world building between, or rather relationship building between Ellie and Joel.
Sure.
Because the vast majority of the episode was a lot of, back and forth with them, kind of getting to know them a little bit more.
Driving in the car.
Yeah, them interacting and just growing closer as we know that what happens throughout the game.
They have that conversation about, have you killed innocent people before too? Mm-hmm. So Ellie gets a little bit of insight onto who Joel was before she met him,
right?
And who he continues to be, who he still is. So we get a taste of his backstory since the infection.
Yep.
So yeah, I thought that was good too. It seems like they are bonding more. Because in this episode we also get the joke book, right?
Yep.
And so, I thought it was really nice to kind of bookend it with the joke book, no pun intended. But thank you. At the very end, where he finally cracks and then starts laughing at the pun that she made.
Yes.
I thought that was really nice.
That was cute.
And effective in an overwhelmingly dark show.
Yeah.
You know, you need those little breathers because it doesn't get brighter from here.
No.
Yeah.
Pretty much, it's pretty much downhill from here.
Kinda.
There's not really a lot of moment of, well, there
is a very notable moment of levity left.
Yeah.
That we won't spoil. But, yeah, it's pretty dark. It continues to be pretty dark.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I agree. I think it was not one of the stronger episodes, but still good. And I think it did its job as far as getting us from point A to point B with Joel and Ellie and introducing two important characters in The Last of Us.
Right.
With Henry and Sam.
Right.
Who we will learn more about in episode 5. So episode 5 is Endure and Survive. This is the Henry and Sam episode. We find out more about them, their character. We find out...
Grow up.
We find out that they're on the run. Apparently, Henry was a double crosser in this
A collaborator.
A collaborator, as they say, that worked with Fedra. We eventually find out it's because Sam, his younger brother, had cancer, and the only way to get cancer medication was to collaborate with Fedra.
Yeah.
So he sold out the leader of the resistance and got him killed, basically. And so Kathleen is the sister of the former leader of that resistance. That's why she has a bone to pick with Henry, and is going on her revenge thing to try to, no matter what, find Henry and kill him. So they're on the run, and the reason why they stop by and meet up with Joel and Ellie is because they witness, or I should say Henry witnesses, because Sam is blind in the TV show.
Deaf
In the TV show.
Deaf, dumb, and blind.
Not all those. Yes, you're right. So
he's a pinball wizard.
He's deaf, and so he isn't able to tell really what's going on when there's this big gunfight. But Henry sees it and sees that maybe they could help Sam and Henry on their escape plan to get out of Kansas City. So they eventually meet up. They have a standoff, but eventually become friends. They attempt to escape. We get the cool action set piece that's in the video game of the sniper holding him down.
Yeah.
That happens, but the sniper in the TV show actually is part of Kathleen's army. Radios them in to let them know that they're escaping before he gets killed by Joel. And then we get this incredible set piece that was hinted at in the episode before, of the infected being in the tunnels underground, because Henry says that Fedra pushed them all underground years ago. And we get our first bloater of the show. Yeah. Comes out, wreaks havoc. Kathleen dies, thank God.
Yep.
Gets attacked. Our crew narrowly escapes. And then they go to a hotel out of town in a remote place. Seems like everything's cool. And then we find out that Sam's been bitten. And Ellie tries. I don't think she actually thinks this is going to work herself, but tries anyway to cut herself and put her blood on Sam's wound, because she's immune. So heck, maybe it'll work.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say if she thinks that it's going to work, or if it's just like a solve to make Sam feel better. Yeah, it's kind of unclear,
right?
Because if she didn't think that it was going to work, it's very risky to fall asleep next to him.
Sure. So that I think she thought it may work, but I think she knew in the back of her mind it probably wasn't going to, but was kind of hoping it would.
Yeah.
That's what I think. That was my read on it. Anyway, we don't get that specificity in the show, those answers. But just like in the game, he wakes up and is old zombified. Comes after Ellie, and then Henry shoots Sam. Obviously, not in the best mood after that, and unlives himself, and everyone's upset. Everyone's crying. Everyone's very upset. And then we see Ellie kind of hint at her becoming this harder person at the end of it, because she goes, "We got to go west."
Yeah.
And leaves their graves, and Joel continues on. And that's it. That's where we're left.
So, 2 things about this episode. Number 1, this is one of my favorite missions in the game.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Trying to get past the sniper. I thought it was so fucking cool to play it in the game. Like going from car to car, trying to make it past the sniper.
Yeah. Go through like houses and backyards and stuff.
Yeah, you got to get around him and then sneak up the stairs. Such a great part of the game. And I think they did well enough in the show. Thought it was cool. It was fun just to see it happen in the show. I think they maybe could have like built like the tension a little bit more with it. But either way, dope. Seeing the bloater, which I found out later on, I'm sure you saw this, was practical.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
It's great.
Man, what a moment.
Yeah.
When he fucking rips the dude's head off.
I was so hoping they would do that. You know, it's iconic.
Yeah.
You got to do it.
God damn, it was so cool.
I was kind of hoping Kathleen would get that, honestly.
Yeah. I didn't. Yeah, I wanted her to get just ripped apart. Yeah.
Yeah, I really hated her character.
Yeah,
I got to be honest with you.
yeah,
I know they tried to show like her motivation and stuff, and like, yeah, you know, they did a good enough job, but I just despised her the entire time.
Yeah. She was despicable.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. I get where she was coming from.
Yeah, well, and it was a mirroring, obviously, of Joel and the themes of revenge and all that stuff. You know, I understand, but
yeah, the whole thing of you know, revenge.
it's all about love.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it being a toxic thing, and
sure, it can be a dangerous thing, as Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann say. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was also really impressive that they made that entire like neighborhood.
Yeah.
That they actually like built that on a lot.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
I think this was the first episode in which something happens and the emotional heft of it was a little lost on me because I had already experienced it so much.
Sure.
That it was still like and this is why I appreciate anybody who didn't play the game and is just watching it for the first time. I was telling you, I'm sure Sherry, you probably, I know that it hit very hard for you. Yes. And I've been telling people, anybody who asks me, should I play the game first? And then I'm like, don't play the game. Yeah. Just watch the show now. Since it's out, just watch the show. Yeah. Because you can go back and you can play the game. Like the same way that you're like, oh, I want to know the differences between the show and the game. Just do that in reverse. True. I think you should experience the show on its own merit because I already know that the video game is a masterpiece. Sure. So if you're telling me which one is better, like I can already tell you that the video game is perfect. The show can only go up from where it's at. So I would say, I'd tell anybody who hasn't played the game yet and is debating, watch the show. Just watch the show so you can experience those things and then play the game after if you want to. But I think you should watch the show.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think it'd be better. You'd be better off if you went in blind to the show and then got to experience it in that venue and then go and play the game where you can. Obviously, things are a little bit different, but you can get control behind those scenes and stuff.
Well, especially if you're not a big video game person and if you're just going to play the game because the show's out and you just so happen to have a PS4 or PS5, like if you're not a big, like anybody who just plays Call of Duty and shit and you're just like, oh, I'm gonna play the game because the show's out, it's like, don't waste your time. Yeah. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's a perfect game. So you should play it if you want to. Sure. But don't play it because the show's out and you want to understand the show better.
It might be fun to actually play like up to wherever the episode is at.
Oh, that would be fun.
You know, like just see a side by side.
Turn it off as soon as you get to yeah, that's cool.
At whatever checkpoint you're at.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I the emotion of it wasn't lost on me only because they've proven to be willing to change the story radically.
Yeah.
You know? So I was like, they're not going to do it. They're not going to do that.
Oh, so you went in like,
Yeah. And then
they're not going to go there with it.
Right. And then once they were alone, Ellie and Sam were alone, I was like, oh, it's going to happen.
Yeah,
it's going to happen.
They're definitely going to do it.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, it was still surprising to me that they actually pulled it off and they went there. And, yeah, it was a pleasant surprise. I really think they handled it well. And, actually, I hear what you're saying about not building up as much tension as they could have in the sniper scene, but I think it actually worked for, its own purposes well enough because it added a level of, like, sadness to the scene where the sniper's bad for a reason. It's because he's old, And I like that quick scene between the sniper and Joel where he's like, come on.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Yeah, I did like that.
And he did it.
Yeah, he did it.
So.
And he got did.
Also, kudos to the contortionist girl.
Oh, yeah.
Infected. That was creepy.
Yeah.
Incredibly creepy.
Yeah.
Who ended up taking out Kathleen, which
for
is
a
good.
second, I was like, oh, no. Like,
yeah,
that shit was creepy.
Yeah.
Like, weird.
Yeah. Oh, and shout out to the Ish nod.
The what?
The side story of Ish in the game.
No.
You don't read notes in the games, do you? You don't pick up notes.
I pick up notes,
Okay.
and I've read most of them.
Uh-huh.
Maybe I know what you're talking about. Maybe I don't.
The one about the guy who was out to sea, and he stayed out there for a while, ended up coming back and like starting his own underground society, basically. When they're in the underground in the show, and they're like in that playground area or whatever, the kids kindergarten area.
Yeah.
That's what Ish set up, and you learn a lot more about his story and that community, like what happened to them in the game.
All right.
And there's a paint or a drawing in the background that a kid made, obviously, and it has Ish and somebody else with their names on it.
Oh.
So it's like a little kid painted him.
Okay.
But it was a cool little Easter egg nod to it.
Maybe I need to go back and play the games.
I think you should. It's one of the best little like environmental storytelling things I've ever had in the game. So,
I mean, I've read a lot of the notes. I can't tell you
good.
all of the notes.
It's nice.
I don't know if I've read every single note.
Yeah.
I've read some of the notes. I can't say I've read all the notes.
The best notes.
I've read the best notes. The notes that are about me. I've read those notes. They're good notes. They're probably the best notes. That's all I got.
Oh, that's good. It's good. I'm glad you ended it there. Also, I want to give props to Kayvon, Montreal, Woodward as Sam, or Woodard, excuse me. I thought he was great, and same with Lamar Johnson as Henry. I think they really nailed those characters super well.
Definitely.
And did something a little bit different with them, obviously, with Sam being deaf and actually using a deaf actor to portray them. I think is obviously cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think they're both super talented, and I hope to see them in more stuff moving forward because I thought they really pulled it off. Especially, have issues with kid actors sometimes. They can kind of
suck,
screw the pooch, yeah. But yeah, I thought they were both brilliant in the show. Yeah. So hats off.
Fucking hats off.
Yeah.
So we are caught up now. So next week we will talk about episode 6. If you guys aren't watching the show yet and you're listening to these spoilers, I don't know what's wrong with you, but
don't do that.
You need to watch the show and then come here and just recap with us.
Yeah.
On your end, because it's fantastic so far.
Yeah, it's very it's incredible.
Yeah, I think. This week's episode was another highlight, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Well, they're
doing it.
Yeah. They really are.
They're doing it.
They're doing it.
Yeah.
So. All right. Let's move right along.
All right, then.
Let's move right along. What have we got next? What do we say? A movie that's out. Right. It's out now. As of this recording. And it's Antman.
Oh, it's Antman.
It's Antman. And it's the Wasp. The Wasp. The Wasp.
Yes, boys.
It's
It's the Wasp.
Wasp. Ant-Man and the Wasp. Quantumania.
Yeah.
The highly anticipated Phase 5 movie.
The very first.
The Marvel Cinematic Universe.
The first of its name.
The movie that is supposed to be kicking off where we go from here. And by all accounts, the movie that is going to the movie that is the most consequential since Endgame,
Yeah.
according to Kevin Feige and everybody else who's involved. Got a lot of hype. You got some fantastic actors and actresses in it. Movie is out. It's released.
Mm-hmm.
And not doing so well.
No.
Not doing
Review-wise,
so well.
I'm sure it's
Review-wise,
going
yeah.
to sell like hotcakes.
Well, the
but-
thing is, like, I mean, I'm sure, like, the first week will do well.
Yeah,
But
for
that
sure.
word of mouth / well, I don't know. Here's the thing. So Steve, friend of the show, shout out to Steve. He's been on the pod.
Mm-hmm.
He and I were talking about it, and he was saying, like, this feels like one of those movies that critics are going to beat up, but people are going to love.
Yeah.
So if that's really the case, then I could see it doing well in the for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
And it just being one of those movies where, you know, I mean, it is what it is. Like, I just can't imagine a movie with Paul Rudd as the star and Jonathan Majors with his star rocketing
Yeah.
the way that it
Yeah.
is right now, not doing well.
It has to, right? Like, not to mention, obviously, it's an MCU property, so you already have that built-in fan base.
Right.
And though I think it may be, you know, dwindling a little bit. That's not saying a lot, because obviously there's a ton of people who are still, like, you know, going to see every MCU thing, no matter what.
Yeah.
But, you know, I feel like the star of the MCU is getting dulled a little bit. I don't know how you feel about that.
I mean, I guess that's really the question, right? Is this thing really sustainable?
Well, I'll tell you how I feel about it.
Tell me how you feel about it.
I'm not excited about this movie.
Yeah.
I'm really not. And I, by all accounts, should be. Because I enjoyed both of the Ant-Man movies.
Yeah.
I like the idea of them adding to the stakes of this whole thing and having Kang in it and stuff. And, like, it being this crescendo of the Ant-Man trilogy and kicking off this new phase in the MCU, because, honestly, Phase 4 is pretty disappointing overall.
Yeah.
To me.
Now that you watched Black Panther now, right?
I have, yes.
Okay. I feel like we now can give a pretty full picture of Phase 4.
Pretty much.
We've pretty much seen everything. I didn't finish She-Hulk.
I have not done that either.
But otherwise, I mean, I'm not going to give an opinion on She-Hulk because I haven't watched it. But
Sure.
Phase 4 overall, like you
Yeah.
said, pretty disappointing.
Yeah. Compared to where we left off with Endgame, you know? Like,
It was just so. It was such a high. Such a high.
right. And, you know, I understand it takes a little while to get the troops rallied again and figure out where the story goes from here. But they should have known, right? They should have had this planned out. They shouldn't have been like, yeah, Endgame's going to clearly be the end of the MCU, right?
Yeah.
No, obviously not. Like, if the plan was just to expand the universe, I guess, you know, job well done. They've done that, right? Loki and all this stuff, and the, you know, the now the quantum realm and the different what's it called, the multiverse.
Yeah.
You know, all that stuff obviously gives you unlimited playing field to go from now. But that kind of also makes it like, well, okay, what are we gonna do with that?
Yeah.
You know, like it's too much almost.
It's a lot.
It's almost too much at this point, and I've kind of gotten bored of it. I nothing seems consequential, like you were saying about this is supposed to be this consequential thing, but from a lot of the reviews, it seems like it's just not a very good movie, though.
Yeah.
So that has me worried. That has me a little worried about the future of the franchise, and not worried for their money, obviously. I'm worried as a fan of the MCU. Like, I want more interesting stuff. I want more, you know, compelling
Didn't know Bill Murray was
stories. Yeah, Bill Murray's in there. I want more compelling stories, not just like action set pieces and elements and callbacks to the comics. Like that's not good enough. It used to be, the MC used to be better than this. Right.
Yeah.
It used to be more than just a spectacle. That's what made it special. That it had the charm, it had the action, it had, you know, good writing and good hinting at what was coming next.
Well, I mean, I think, and we may need a couple years removed from all of this stuff to really take a look back and like analyze all this. But I think when I just think about it as much, if I try to like contextualize it right now off the top of my head, the first couple of phases felt like there were stakes, real stakes.
Yeah, it was building. It was building to something.
And there was a real crescendo with Infinity War and Endgame, right?
Right.
When all of that happened, it felt like it was this earned thing. All of this shit happened before Infinity War. And Infinity War, the stuff that takes place in Infinity War, I mean, everyone loses. They lose.
Yeah.
You know, they lose in the movie. And it's awesome. It's like Empire Strikes Back.
Sure.
It's a great way to really kind of leave the climax in the air. One of the best cliffhangers, in my opinion, in the past like couple of years when it comes to big event movies.
Yeah,
because you got this, and then you're like, they don't even, because there was a movie that came out. I think it was Captain Marvel, and then something else came out in between Infinity War and Endgame. So you just like left there with like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What happens now? Thought it was fantastic, and then Endgame was the perfect. Just capping off of all of that stuff, right? And they hadn't introduced, multiverses, different universes, a character dies and they're dead.
Yeah.
Right? And that was it. Like, and it felt
like, except for the snap, obviously.
Well, so I was going to bring that up. The snap was the first chink in the armor to me, where it was like, okay, they're going maybe too comic book with this, wherein, because everyone's concerned about, are they going to bring back Chris Evans? Are they going to bring back Robert Downey Jr.? Are they going to bring back these characters who are dead and cheapen their deaths?
Sure.
Because everybody, it's this weird thing of people being torn between loving Robert Downey Jr. And loving the way that his character was sent off, and then also like, but it was a beautiful way for his character to end, but I would love to see him in another movie because we just love him so much. And it's like, you can't have your cake and eat it too, right? So you have to accept that his character is gone. Yeah. And this multiverse stuff and the TVA and introducing Kang and all this stuff, like, I don't know, man. It might be too big of a hill, too high of a mountain. Yeah. To be able to, because comic books are, not, I was gonna say easy, but that's not the right word. It's easier to just write your way out of something. This could be like a one-off. This could be, we'll just kill this character and then we'll bring him back this way, and it's all forgiven because that's the comic book culture. Right. But in movies, it's the first time in the history of series of films where you're like, we're gonna kill this character. Nope, psych, just kidding. Unless it's Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah, but otherwise, like it's a lot to maintain, and they might finally we're finally seeing maybe it's a little too much.
Yeah, I think another big issue with it is that, no disrespect to who they're now putting on the platform to like take over these roles, but they haven't, in my opinion, found the superstar quality of replacements for these characters that are so beloved, right? And I think that's a major issue with it too. And not to mention, not for nothing, but like, if you have a favorite teacher and then suddenly they leave and are subbed in with somebody else, you're not gonna. It's gonna be harder to swallow that pill. I
mean, even if that person is a fantastic teacher, it's like, sure. Yeah, but you're not Mr. Downey.
Right, exactly. So it's almost unfair for them to be like,
this, he pulled off blackface.
This is, he's been forgiven. It's fine. I mean, it's so hard to be like, this is the new Iron Man.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Like, enjoy. It's Iron Man still, right? Like, come on, go. This is Black Panther again. Here,
right?
Enjoy.
Yeah, like, wait, no.
Right.
No.
Yeah. Or here's Captain America.
They're children to me. It's not fair. It's not fair.
Oh, sure, yeah.
It's not fair to them.
Right.
It's not fair to them. For like the girl, I forgot the actress's name, but the girl who plays Riri Williams.
Yeah.
Like, it's not fair to her for her to replace Robert Downey Jr.
No.
That's not fair.
No, absolutely not.
That's crazy.
Well, and not to mention...
And then Letitia Wright has to replace a dead guy.
Yeah, a beloved dead guy.
Beloved dead guy. It's like, it's not, even if they were incredible, even if they were fucking flawless.
Yeah.
You still, like, you're just setting them up to fail.
Sure. Spoilers for Black Panther.
Oh, right.
Too.
Whoops.
Well, and then obviously until the son's old enough to take over the throne
Right.
again.
And I have a feeling that they're going to do a flash forward.
Probably.
Yeah. They're going to do
Probably.
like a 20-year time jump.
Yeah. They've given themselves an avenue to do that.
Yeah.
And
And then have John Boyega do it.
Sure. Why not? It's a long flash forward.
That's what I'm saying. Like a 30-year flash forward.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I just think, well, and specifically with Black Panther and Riri Williams, she's just Ironheart all of a sudden, like it's just like, no, she's already that. We don't get to see that happen. It's just like, she's already that.
Super cheap way to do that.
It's ridiculous. And then suddenly she has this great suit because they made it in Wakanda.
Yeah.
It's like, come on.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah. All right, great.
Yeah, well, Tony Stark made this in a cave with a box of scraps. And she just gets to go to Wakanda and makes like
cheat code,
a perfectly good Iron Man suit, Iron Woman suit, Iron Heart suit.
Ironheart,
yeah. It's not fair. Not fair to her again. It's setting
no.
her up to fail. Like, of course she's gonna draw criticism, but it's like you're writing it that way,
right?
That's why a lot of people were like, because I was saying I wasn't really feeling them in the movie. It wasn't just they just didn't really connect with them.
Yeah,
and a lot of people are like, I mean, it's like they did the best that they can. The writing just wasn't really there in this one. Yeah, it just wasn't for like I don't know. Are we gonna talk about Black Panther? We can talk about it later.
Okay, all right.
It's gonna take up a lot of time.
It will take a lot of time.
A Black Panther thing.
Right, but I think overall, the MCU is kind of up in the air for me where it stands. Will I see Quantumania at some point? Sure, but I don't even know if I'm going to go to the theater for it. Honestly, I may just wait for it to be on streaming. And I think that's another major issue.
Yeah, it's tough.
So
it's tough to argue with. Like, all I have to do is wait 2 months.
Now, mind you, if this was getting rave reviews and people were freaking out over it, saying it's like the best thing since Endgame, I'd probably make my way out to the theater to see it. But because it's getting middling reviews, I'm of course going to see what actual people say about it too. But it's just a bad sign in a movie that I was already not super excited for anyway. Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. Sign. It's not a good sign. Certainly not a good sign. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what they can do. I want to stay hopeful that they can pull it together.
It's actually lower than the last time I looked at.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, it's currently at a 51%.
Yeah, last time I checked, it was at 54. So
yeah, it's rough. Yeah, rough stuff.
Rough.
Any hooser.
Yeah. All right, speaking of sequels to big movies. With black people in them.
Okay.
With a black person.
Where's this going?
I Am Legend.
Yes. I Am Legend.
I Am Legend. Part 2. A movie that kind of... I guess it's not really strange nowadays with all the sequels and shit that they've been putting out.
I'm surprised it didn't come sooner.
Yeah.
Given the the zombie pop after
zombie pop.
Yeah, I mean it kind of feels a little late for it, if anything.
Yeah, way. I think I don't want to say too late, but
no. I mean,
definitely late.
I feel like Last of Us has kind of revived the zombie thing for a little bit.
Yeah, they're.
Wait, brought it back from the dead.
Ooh, yeah, that was worth it.
Thank you.
That was worth it. Excuse me. In I Am Legend, technically, they are vampires.
It's true.
So
Yeah. What are they called?
monsters. I don't know.
Legends.
Ghouls.
Ghouls, goblins. They're not daywalkers, right? That's Blade, but
Blade.
there's something like that though, right?
Yeah, no, yeah. They are something like
Night
that.
Stalkers or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's something like that.
that.
It's something like that.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I
Can only take seeing that dog die only so many times.
Yeah.
rough.
Once you have it on home video, you just fast forward.
skip it, yeah.
right past that.
Yeah.
There's no reason to keep watching.
Nah,
it.
you don't need to.
It's so sad. Well, the thing about like that movie is so. I don't think it's in the same conversation of watch it once and call it a day, like like Precious.
Okay, yeah.
Like I don't think it's.
We don't have to talk about Precious every single episode.
I don't know, man. I kind of feel like maybe everybody should rewatch Precious and see what I'm talking about.
One reel in?
Such a one reel in with Precious.
No,
Oh my god!
absolutely not.
Holy moly, that would.
I don't want to. I don't want to do that.
It's just not a good movie, man. It's not a good movie. It's not. Monique deserved her Oscar for sure, but other than that, like it's just such a brutal movie. They're
Yeah.
like, what is afflicting the black community? All right, well, let's make her the metaphor for all.
All of it.
It's fucking terrible. Anyway, I don't think it's that bad, but have I watched I Am Legend multiple times? No. I
Yeah.
don't know how many times I need to watch that movie.
Well-
it was it was right in that time frame of where like Will Smith kept doing bummers, and you're like, when's he gonna do a fucking like? When's he gonna do another Hitch? He hasn't been charming in
Sure.
like 6 years. All of the movies he's doing are bummers.
It
man.
had been a long time since Bad Boys 2.
Yeah, he did I Am Legend. There was 7 Pounds, which was
Yeah.
a fucking bummer.
Yeah.
And then there was another movie he did around
Pursuit of
Hancock.
Happiness.
Pursuit of Happiness was a bummer. Hancock was a bummer.
Mm-hmm.
Like he just kept doing these movies where you're like, God damn, bro, what's
Chill out.
well, 'cause
What's
it's
going
like,
on?
It's not his strength.
Yeah.
You know,
well, I
like-
think that's what he was trying to change was the perception that he couldn't be taken seriously.
Yeah, we'll do 1 or 2 of those.
Yeah.
and then you come back and you do another Hitch, and then
Sure.
and then you go back and you do that's what all the comedy / dramedy greats do. They do the one, and then you're like, holy shit, that guy can fucking act.
Well-
and then he goes back and he does a silly one.
Hitch was-
And then we do a silly one.
And then we'll do one for you. I mean, Hitch was such an anomaly, though. Like, it was perfect place and time, and I think over time he's tried to chase that, and it's never happened again. He's never found another romantic comedy that works like Hitch does.
You know why?
Why?
I'm gonna tell you. You ready for this? I'm gonna say this right here on the podcast.
Okay.
Hitch, best rom-com of all time.
Wow.
I'm saying it.
I mean,
I'm saying.
it's definitely up there.
I think it's the best one of all time.
Yeah. Okay.
I think, I know When Harry Met Sally's probably the one.
For sure. Yeah.
And I will say that in Harry Met Sally, the moments, the really romantic moments, the really like heart-wrenching, like, wow, this guy really loves her moments are higher than Hitch.
Sure.
I think Hitch is, from start to finish, more entertaining, more original,
Yeah.
and just like a more fun watch.
It's really funny.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
Kevin James has never been funnier.
Yeah.
Smith has never been more charming. And even the bit players, like even fucking Rappaport gets some good
Yeah.
ones off in the first
Yeah.
like couple minutes of the movie. He gets a good couple of jokes off. Fucking what's the guy from Burn Notice? Jonathan or something? Michael Donovan, I think his name is. Is it Michael? It's something Donovan. But he's great in his in his short role. Everyone's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying it. It's just
Great. I'm not going to fight you on that. I think it's a great movie. Yeah.
And so, yes, it is hard for him to surpass that.
Sure.
Because he knocked one out of the park.
It's
It's hard to reach that high.
It's one of those magic movies, Like
Yeah.
it just hit perfectly when it should.
Yeah.
With everyone running on all cylinders. But that being said, Iron Legend. I was going to say.
Legend. Iron
I Am
Legend.
Legend.
Iron Legend.
I Am Legend 1. It should be no surprise to you why I don't watch that movie very often. It's not just the dog dying. Spoiler alert. It's the terrible CG.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
up
Yeah,
there
yeah,
with
yeah.
the Thing prequel.
Yeah.
It is one of the most heartbreaking movies that I've seen where they had practical effects in there. They had people with costumes and makeup, and they said, let's throw cartoons on top of it. And it looks so bad. It looked bad at the time.
Yeah.
I remember I saw it in IMAX. And I remember being like, this is awesome, but it looks awful.
Yeah.
And I was mad. I was so mad when I found out they literally just covered up the actual actors in prosthetics and makeup.
Yeah.
Like, this could have worked so much better. And mind you, I haven't seen like what it looked like on film, obviously, because I'm sure they have that version of it burned somewhere.
Yeah.
It's ashes currently. But man, I can't help but think it would have looked way better than most of the CG characters they put in there.
Yeah.
We weren't ready for that yet.
No.
I think even now it would be hard for them to do like full CG characters with CG faces.
Yeah.
You know, right up to Will Smith's real face.
and that was the problem. You're not supposed to get that close, because I was thinking about World War Z. So
Sure.
I watched that the other day.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I never really talked about it.
We didn't get to talk about it. Yeah, we didn't get to talk about it.
Well, I watched it. And I had never watched it before. I avoided it because I'd read that it was such a huge departure from the book.
Oh, yeah.
That I
Well,
was like, fuck this movie.
Yeah, it totally is.
Yeah. No, it's not even. All they did was Brad Pitt paid for the rights to the book, and then he was like, fuck that book.
I'll use your title.
They don't even use like the weapon
Yeah,
that they
no.
create in the book. That's like the thing that kind of turns the tide. Anyway, I won't harp on that, but the CG of that movie, when you pan out
Yeah.
and you've got all these bodies just
Swarm,
throwing
yeah.
themselves at
Yeah.
that looks dope.
Well, it's a very unique visual too. You don't see that very often.
Yeah,
I-
they're just like,
Well, I think actually Last of Us took a little bit of that with the latest episode with that swarm coming out of the hole. It's like
Yeah.
it just looks like a swarm of bodies. Just
yeah, it looks like bees or
Yeah,
like
ants.
like ants.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're like crawling on top of each other and throwing themselves, and they're falling over things, and they're like, just reckless abandon.
Yeah.
And it's scarier. It's hard to make a horde scary nowadays because we've seen that shit so many times.
Yeah. Not like that.
Shit. Yeah, that shit's frightening to think like they're relentless.
Yeah.
They're coming at you with everything they got, and they don't care what happens to them.
Right.
They're just like,
Singularly minded. They need to just continue to spread the infection.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
fucking frightening.
Yeah.
So yeah, you pan out and you see that kind of thing, and you're like, that looks incredible. Then when you get those smaller moments where like there's the one scene where he has to sneak through the World Health Organization or whatever. That was good because you got like actual actors kind of shambling around.
Yeah.
And the people that chase them are actual actors. It's prosthetics, and it looks amazing, and it's
Right.
visceral. And when they hit a door or when they grab someone, it's really there.
Yeah, it's more
There-
visceral.
There's no replacing the weight of someone actually grabbing you and throwing you to the ground
Or hitting something.
there's no
Thank you.
there's no
Oh, damn it.
replacing.
It's okay.
We got to 49 minutes.
49 minutes, yeah. That's fine.
We got to do something about that.
We'll put a fun picture here.
Me just grabbing. There's no replacing the weight of that.
Sure.
So, yeah. You look at, because I was watching the last scene of the alternate ending, which we need to update people on,
Sure. Of I Am Legend.
of I Am Legend.
Right.
And it's a very important scene. It's this is climactic, like changing of the guard scene where you understand the monster's point of view.
Yeah.
Where you empathize with them.
Well, that's the entire idea of the story. Even the novel it's based off of is that in this world, Will Smith is the monster.
Right.
Because everyone else, essentially, for what he knows, everyone else is the monsters.
Yeah.
So they have their entire society. They're not this, like, thoughtless creature. They actually have their own, like, families and their own thoughts and
Yeah.
all this stuff. They're not just brain-dead zombies. They're people.
Yeah.
There's changed. And so he's the one that comes out at night or during the day, as it is,
and hunting them,
and hunts them, right? And
capturing them,
yeah.
experimenting on them,
right? So he's the monster, really,
Yeah.
and so it turns it on its head.
Yeah. And in the theatrical version of the movie, you don't get that piece.
Mm-hmm.
He sacrifices himself and he kills a lot of them,
Yeah.
and he saves the girl, the girl and her daughter
Yeah.
or whatever, and what you get from that is that they are just mindless monsters.
Mm-hmm.
They're there to kill him and kill her, and it's this very clear-cut good versus evil story. But with the alternate ending, like you said, you get this very complex idea of of their perception versus his perception versus his like realization of what he's been doing to them and realizing that they are a very complex society of creatures, and it's like this thing of de-evolution and evolution of what makes a society, what makes a person or a thing or intelligence, and all these very big questions get asked at the end.
They want to be
of that.
left alone, basically.
Yeah.
And
so the director liked this ending. The studio liked that ending more. Everyone preferred that ending, except for audiences who resoundingly rejected that ending. And so they changed it for the theatrical version. Now, with this sequel, they've decided we're going to use the ending we wanted.
It's funny that our society rejected the idea of what is a society. You know?
Yeah.
What makes us human?
Can you imagine?
Nah, we want them just to kill. That's it.
They're monsters. They deserve to die.
Yeah.
And I hope they burn in hell. So this sequel starring Michael B. Jordan and Will Smith is going to use the alternate version, the alternate ending rather, as the canon version of events, which I just find really, really interesting.
Yeah.
That they just made that choice.
Sure. Yeah.
Just feels like there's no rules anymore.
It's funny though, because I remember like when it came out on DVD, that was such a it was a big deal that they had this alternate ending on the DVD.
Alternate endings were always a big deal.
Sure.
And especially in this because it changed it so drastically.
Right. Well, and it wasn't unfinished. Like it was a full ending that you can just watch instead. And I remember seeing that and being like, wow, that was a lot better than the way it actually ended.
Yeah.
So I think they get that a lot of the sentiment was the same over time. You know, it took time for people to be like, yeah, we want more complexity in our horror stories.
It's hard to say sometimes, you know, like it's hard to say when a good ending or a bad ending or a sad ending is appropriate.
Right.
Because like I was thinking about what show was I watching? Fuck. God damn it.
What was it about? We can get there.
Well, I can't remember. Shit. It was a show where everything, at the end of the show, everything kind of wrapped up neatly. And it was a good ending to the show. It was a positive ending. Fuck, I was just thinking. Okay, doesn't matter. The specifics doesn't matter. Okay. The idea that I'm trying to get across is sometimes a show can just neatly wrap up and be a good ending. And that's okay. You can have a happy ending to a movie or a show. Yeah. But well, like people, I think sometimes, especially recently, we get caught up in like, if it's not this devastating, heart-wrenching ending to this tale, then it's not a good ending. It's
not deep.
Like you didn't, like the filmmakers didn't try hard enough, or they didn't challenge their audience enough. Yeah. And it's like sometimes it can just be a good ending, right? So I don't envy the people in the position who have to decide, do we go with the wrapped up good ending, quote unquote, or do we challenge audiences? Do we try to say something with this ending? Do we go with the sad ending? Does the main character die? Yada, yada, and so on and so forth. So it's a hard position to be put in. Sure. Because they obviously they felt that this was the way to go. And it's very clear now because it's canon. Right. But at the time, They couldn't do that. They were at the whim of audiences.
Yeah.
You play it for test audiences, and they fucking go no. It's like, what can you do?
Right.
You
Well,
know?
you can trust in the film.
Yes,
I
you can have a studio that trusts the
I
filmmakers.
put it on the studio at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know, I just think that if you are so convicted as a filmmaker and as a studio that's backing this filmmaker, you just have to trust in the vision. People don't like it. People don't like it. But like, I think it would. I mean, even if people rejected the ending, it still would have gotten butts in seats.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And it would the word of mouth of what happened probably would have got more butts in seats.
Sure. Yeah.
I think my favorite version of this is Dodgeball.
Okay.
Because not a lot of people, I guess not a lot of people watched the DVD version of Dodgeball, but the movie, if you haven't seen Dodgeball, it's about dodgeball. But the movie ends with Average Joe's Gym going against Global Gym in the Dodgeball finals, and Global Gym, they win, but then he stepped over the line of the it's like hitting the net if you're playing tennis or something.
Yeah.
So they have to replay it. They do this sudden death thing, and Average Joe's wins, and it's a happy ending. They buy the gym, everybody, it's beautiful, blah blah blah, right?
Sure.
The way that the movie was supposed to end was he wasn't supposed to step over the line. Global Gym was supposed to just win the dodgeball tournament.
Sure.
And that was it. Like, Global Gym was supposed to
just
win.
losers, yeah.
And they're just losers.
Right.
And audiences are like, no, that is not okay.
Right.
I am not walking out of this comedy with
Feeling bad.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So I love this story because if you watch the theatrical version of the movie, there's the scene in the credits where Ben Stiller's character is now all fat and out of shape.
Oh,
and
yeah,
stuff. And he does like my milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and he sings and stuff. He says it directly to the audience. He's like, oh, the good guy wins, the bad guy loses. Fucking audiences can't handle a sad, it's the filmmakers saying directly to the audience, fuck you guys.
Yeah,
like,
you
you
guys
couldn't
suck.
handle a sad ending.
Right.
He says it directly to them, and then
Yeah.
he does the little dance thing, and everybody has a good time. But I fucking love that shit, because if you went and saw it in theaters, you just thought, oh, that's just Ben Stiller being funny.
Sure.
But then when you watch the alternate or the real ending,
Right.
you're like, oh, this is the filmmakers going, fuck you guys.
Yeah.
You couldn't handle it, so
That's
here
a good way
you go.
that's a good way to go about it.
Yeah, I love that.
I like the pettiness.
Oh, it's so petty.
Yeah.
So, I don't know when this movie's supposed to come out. You got Michael B. Jordan, you got Will Smith.
Yeah. They just signed the deal apparently for it, so it's going to be a while.
Yeah. It's another one of those things.
Within that deal too, we should mention that Constantine is also in there too. So
What do you mean? He's in the movie?
no,
wait, what?
A new Constantine movie with Keanu is in the
Oh,
works
yeah.
as well.
Sick.
With that deal.
Sick.
Yeah.
That's dope.
With WB.
I'm more excited about that than this I Am Legend sequel. to
Yeah,
be
me
honest
too.
with you.
Me too. I think Constantine is a more fun movie. Yeah.
Yeah. Just feels like it's going to be another bummer.
Yeah, probably.
And the thing is, if it's
Probably.
not, if it's like an action movie, then you're like, well, it kind of goes against the
Yeah.
the spirit of the first movie.
yeah, yeah.
So kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't.
A little bit. I mean, I'll hold any judgment until we actually at least see a trailer.
Speaking of trailers, let's get right into a week of trailer trash.
Trailer trash.
All right.
Beep beep.
Dead. Boop. All right.
Beep
Let's speed round this
Beep
shit.
boop, beep
Let's
boop.
get through these trailers.
Okay.
What do we got? Hit me, Obi.
We have Fast 10 or Fast X if you prefer.
I prefer.
If you nasty.
Fast X if you're nasty.
Yeah. So the boys are back in town.
Damn right they are.
Yeah, so I guess it turns out that Aquaman was in the background of was it Fast 5?
He was just in
the
the
entire
background.
time?
Yeah, Fast 5.
The entire time?
So for the past 7-8 years?
Yeah, it's just been
He's just been in Brazil, just
plotting.
yeah,
Yeah.
watching the events of these other movies take place. hearing about the exploits of Toretto and fam.
Yeah, just waiting.
Just waiting.
Calculating.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing, guys. You kind of have to just let it go.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you do.
There's just no other way to enjoy these movies. Because if you think too hard about them, you're going to go,
What? Oh, what?
because that's exactly my first thought when it was introduced that Jason Momoa is somehow related to the Brazilian guy that they robbed in the 5th movie. This is the 10th movie, and he's related to the villain of the 5th movie.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes perfect sense.
So just don't even...
Don't worry about
just
it.
Don't
worry about
don't.
it. Don't even think about it.
Yeah.
It's okay.
You know, the only problem I really have with these movies at this point is Vin Diesel's perspective on them.
Okay.
Like,
that's a problem. He's, like the main guy behind this entire thing.
I just don't
at this
like
point.
that he has this idea that there's like some kind of like high art, or he's creating something
Yeah.
that like if he was also in on the bit that these movies are insane,
Yeah.
then I think people would be able to swallow it a little bit better.
You know what, though? I disagree.
Yeah.
I think in the same way that somebody that's out to make a bad movie never makes an entertaining movie, since Vin thinks that this is like, this is Casablanca 2, like he's doing something with this. This is Citizen Kane.
Yeah. What did you see what he said about himself and Daniel Day-Lewis?
No.
Where he,
Please.
I'm paraphrasing, but he basically was like, I get where old Daniel Day is coming from, like artists like us. It's hard to make movies. It's hard to maintain this
Yeah.
kind of this volume, this output. Like I get it. Like I get why he's tired. I'm tired too.
Somewhere in remote Italy, Daniel Day-Lewis, as he's cobbling shoes, just had a heart palpitation and doesn't know why.
Wait, what? What was that?
Strange. Yeah, it's a lot, but I do think that because Vin has this completely out of this world view of what he's doing, it actually leads to at least a more entertaining product.
Yeah.
He's not trying to make a bad movie. He's legitimately doing something that he thinks is incredible.
Right.
And, I'm sure he's helping in the writer's room. I'm sure he's helping with directing, and that's probably why he's pushed away a lot of talent. But
yeah,
at the same time, I do think that this latter end of the Fast series is going to be on its own, its own self-contained thing, where it's very clearly off the rails.
Yeah.
It's very clearly jumping the shark. And you just got to hold on. You just got to hold on, brace for impact. And
as he does when he pulls 2 helicopters with his charger.
And just know the ride you're getting onto before you get on.
Right.
I think that's all that's required to enjoy these movies.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
And I genuinely hope that it's just a lot of dumb fun. I think the last one, it did get a little too convoluted and maybe a little too self-serious.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping this is, just more fun.
Yeah.
Let's loose more.
Yeah, I mean, there's
even more bonkers.
There doesn't need to be any kind of super complex, high ideas about what this is. It's Fast and the Furious has always been a revenge tale.
Sure.
It's always been Toretto on the run, protecting his family, and making a mess on the way to freedom. And having to deal and redemption. Thank you. Redemption is definitely a theme. And then having to deal with the consequences of the mess he makes on his way to redemption.
Sure. The people he hurts along the way.
Yeah. That has been, I think that is the biggest theme is family. But
of course,
the other big themes are redemption and dealing with the consequences of that redemption. And so Fast 10 and 11, we don't really need to go. Because I heard, the 11th, he wants the 11th to be basically about Elon Musk.
Okay.
I mean, he didn't say that, but he was like a super smart guy.
Right.
You saw that?
Yes.
Yeah. His idea for the villain of the 11th movie, which also could be viewed as a spoiler to the 10th movie.
Right.
Because if he's already thinking about the villain of the 11th, he's telling us that Jason Momoa is probably just either a one and done or
he joins the family.
Yeah.
I know your daddy didn't treat you right. I'll treat you right.
I know about daddies.
I know about, or lack thereof.
Yeah.
We're family. I am Groot.
I am the Iron Giant. He never says that.
I am the Iron Giant.
I am Pitch Black.
I am Giant. I am Riddick.
I am pitch black.
Yeah. So as far as the trailer goes, it's bonkers. You know, we get a star-studded cast of people we've seen before and haven't as well. The return of John Cena. Brie Larson's in the mix.
Some people are speculating that Brie Larson is an O'Connor.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, that could be. I could see that.
I kind of like that.
Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah.
Kinda. Is it another thing of like we never heard about this character's sisters?
We haven't heard anything about any of these people until they show up.
That's true. Yeah. Just like Dominic's mother, who's going to be in this as well.
Yeah.
So that's, interesting. We're getting a new character of Alan Richardson playing Agent Ames.
Say Alan Alda.
Alan Alba. Yeah. So, it just seems like they try to cram in whoever's kind of a big guy in these movies.
Yeah.
So they know.
Seems like it's the only thing that's keeping Scott Eastwood's lights on.
Yeah.
Is his dad or this fucking movie?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Also with and Jordana Brewster too.
Yeah,
it feels like they don't do anything else but this series.
I mean, honestly, she's probably a realtor or something on the side and just comes back for these movies. I get the feeling she's parlayed the early Fast series into something, she's probably chilling.
Yeah.
And of course, Charlize is back somehow.
And of course,
I don't know how they continue to get Charlize Theron.
Charlize Theron has returned somehow.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, again,
she must. I mean, Vin Diesel is one of these guys that's probably like Adam Sandler, where people probably who are on his good side love him.
Yeah,
like if you look, like he posted something. He posted the trailer to Guardians. And I saw like all of these famous people who were like, "This is awesome! Like, good for you! Like, you got Fast and you got this coming out." And it's just like people who like him love him.
Yeah,
So it's no surprise that, I mean, you throw a big check at these people, and also like, how do you get Helen Mirren to do multiple Fast and the Furious movies?
I mean, it's got to be the paycheck, right? Like. They just got to be throwing money.
I mean, but like how much? It just seems like maybe they just like having dumb fun. The movie's probably like a thrill to film.
I'm sure. And they're doing it in like these incredible locations. So it's like,
sure. And I'm sure with the way that Vin Diesel is, I'm sure all of them are treated like fucking superstars.
Oh, yeah.
But I bet all of them have their own trailers. And it's like a full-on multi-million-dollar like A-list superstar production where like they all have like 6 different agents taking care of everything. Their riders are probably filled with shit. I bet you it's awesome. I bet you it's fucking awesome. I bet you it's like going to a theme park and not having to wait in any lines and then having someone following you around with like a mini fan feeding you and making sure you're just having the time of your life.
And then you just hang out in Rio.
Yeah.
Why not?
And then for like an hour of your day, you have to yell or something.
Say a couple lines, Drive a car.
Yeah. And then they just go back to hanging out.
Yeah. No, I
How
hope so.
else do you convince? Look at this cast.
I don't know.
There are multiple Oscar winners in this cast.
Yeah. Yeah. And Louis Black. And Lucas Black, excuse me.
Black. I thought Louis Black was... I was like, what is he doing?
These cars!
These cars! Let's see.
I mean, I think some of this list is untrue because they have The Rock on here too, who is famously anti.
Yeah, I'm sure they're using...
And Eva Mendes.
I'm sure they're using like footage of him.
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, he doesn't have the rights to the footage of him.
Sure, that's very true. And I think Vin's petty enough to be like, we're going to put you in the movie. You're going to be in this movie.
I mean, look at this. I'm pretty sure Kurt Russell's been nominated for an Oscar. You got Helen Mirren, Charlize Theron, and Brie Larson.
Mm-hmm. And then Bow Wow.
And Bow Wow. and Cardi B's in it.
Cardi B's in there too, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty big. And Rita Moreno.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, it's pretty silly. But as far as the trailer goes,
yeah, we spent way too much time.
Trash or no trash?
Not trash.
Every time we talk about the Fast
I
series,
know.
people should know this by now. Yeah, not trash. I actually...
This is a Fast and the Furious podcast. I don't know if anybody knows that.
It's a sleeper Fast and Furious podcast.
For sure.
It got me excited.
Yeah.
Got me excited for it.
I'm going to watch this.
Yeah.
First day.
Okay, so next up, we have a trailer for... I was waiting for you. Guardians?
Mm-hmm. Guardians?
Well, there was a new trailer.
There was
a new Guardians trailer, yeah.
Yeah.
These are all the Super Bowl trailers if people need more specificity in what we're watching.
Yeah, that's right. We didn't really talk about the Super Bowl. Not much to really say.
Not really.
It was a good game.
It's
Commercial
good
sucked.
Yeah, and that last call was a real bummer.
Yeah. Decided what was, for all intents and purposes, an awesome game.
Yeah, agreed. But
the commercials, though.
Oh, yeah.
They're getting worse and
stinkers.
worse.
Real stinkers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were talking about it while we were watching the game. The Super Bowl commercials have just turned into cameo fests. That's all they are. They're not funny.
Yeah.
They're not creative. They're not like, wow, I've never seen that before. They're literally just how much money can we throw at fucking Steve Martin or some actor from the 90s to show up and do their thing that they're famous for.
Right. And I love Breaking Bad. But they committed the cardinal sin of commercials for me nowadays. It's not just the cameos. It's like we're resuscitating this character that you loved to talk about pop chips.
Yeah.
It's like...
It was awful. It was not good.
Sucks.
I love
sucks.
everyone involved, but that was a bad commercial.
Yeah.
It just wasn't good. What are we supposed to... The show's been off for years.
Right.
It would have been more relevant to do something...
Better Call Saul?
Yeah, to have Bob Odenkirk do the commercial.
Yeah.
Instead of, have him have, the popcorners on trial for something. Or
Sure.
something like that. Something, really funny and kind of, quirky and irreverent.
Right.
Have the chips be sentient and be on trial, and then fucking Bob Odenkirk walks in and he's, defending him or something.
Sure.
That would have been at least more relevant than bringing back fucking Breaking Bad. And even you can tell even...
Jesse
White. Yeah. Bryan Cranston.
Uh-huh.
He's tired of this shit.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm sure he has reverence for the character, but, how much longer can you do this?
He even said, he's like, this might be the last time I portray this character. And it's so funny that it's like he's going to retire the character in a Popcorners commercial.
Popcorners, right. Popcorners. How could I forget?
I only know that because we had them at Red Light.
Oh.
I wouldn't know any other way.
I've gotten them before. They're pretty good.
They're all right.
Yeah, they're fine. For a popcorn chip, they're probably upper.
They shouldn't be making popcorn chips. That's the problem.
Yeah, I guess that's where the problems start.
Yeah. You make a popcorn chip shaped like a Dorito. Just get a Dorito. They're not good flavors.
Yeah. The cheddar's okay. The cheddar's fine.
Cheddar's okay. Yeah, you're right. Cheddar's okay.
Yeah.
I would eat the cheddar. The white cheddar?
Of course.
Yeah.
There's no other.
That's right.
So Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, the latest trailer. We finally get a little look at Adam Warlock, which is cool. A bit more on the story going on. Obviously, Gamora's back, but
Who's Gamora?
not as she was, and we find out that's obviously a plot point for Star-Lord because his love is back, but not really. And,
yeah, I mean, ever since Endgame, it seemed like that's what Guardians 3 was going to be about.
Sure. Yeah. I guess it's to be expected, but I guess it's just confirmation. And I mean, we get a lot of action. Again, it seems to be a bit more somber than what we're used to for Guardians, which makes me think one, if not multiple characters, are going to die, which has been all but confirmed by, I think, kind of everyone involved with the movie at this point.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I
mean,
mean...
Batista has all but said...
He's going to die.
Yeah.
Drax is going to go.
Like this version of the Guardians. What does that mean? It means
Right.
a version that you're not involved in.
Right.
Chris Pratt has not said a word about this movie.
Yeah.
As far as like the plot and everything.
Right.
He's not said a fucking word about it.
Yeah.
Batista can't shut his fucking mouth.
It's true. It's true.
I'm done with it. I'm done with it.
I don't think. I mean, I haven't heard anyone talking about this movie that's involved with it other than James Gunn
And Batista.
and Batista. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's true.
It's kind of weird. I don't know. Maybe they're under like an NDA or something.
I mean,
and-
they're always, right?
sure, but still, they have to promote it, right? Like they
well,
got to
I mean,
talk
the rest
about
of
it.
them have been like Chris Pratt's got Mario, Zoe Saldana's got Avatar.
Will Poulter's hanging out.
Yeah, I guess
He's probably doing something else. I don't know. Same with Karen Gillan.
Vin Diesel's got Fast.
Everything.
He's got
the
everything
world by the
else.
balls.
That's right.
Yeah. So I
And
mean,
Batista actually had like Knock at the Cabin and other shit he's got going on.
that's true.
So-
Yeah. Yeah. He's got.
But
I think
he's-
he's just. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's over it,
Yeah.
and he's fine saying like, yeah, this is gonna be it.
Yeah.
Um.
I hate to say this. Never mind. I shouldn't even say it.
Okay. It's fine.
Just I'm shaming the guy, and it's not okay.
Batista?
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
I love Batista.
Yeah.
Love him with all my heart.
We've talked about him
Yeah.
plenty of times.
But he asked James Gunn if he could. Fuck it, I'm gonna say it. Whatever.
You have to now.
He asked James Gunn if Drax could be like more clothed because he was tired of.
Yeah.
We've talked about that.
Yeah.
And in the trailer, you can kind of tell.
Uh-huh.
It looks like he looks fatter,
Okay.
which is it's not a horrible thing, but like, I guess the reason I bring it up is because I'm fat phobic.
Yeah.
No, the reason I bring it up is because when I have this immature view of how these things are supposed to go, right? And you have to, sometimes it's hard to be an adult when it comes to like you're watching.
Just in general.
Yeah, that's true. Just, but when you're watching something like this, it's a bunch of like superheroes. It's a bunch of comic book characters and stuff. And
Sure. I idealized human anatomy.
yeah, and it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to like, you lose yourself in it,
Yeah.
and then you have to like pull back and go, listen, he's a grown man in his 50s. It's probably incredibly hard to maintain a wrestler's body.
Oh yeah.
And
of course.
he was like, I'm done with this.
Yeah.
And I understand that.
And he's getting, deeper roles with more acting challenges. We talked about it,
Yeah.
like he's not just a big guy anymore.
But he looks more in shape now than he does in the trailer. Like I've seen him in like GQ photo shoots and like interviews and stuff, and more recently he looks great.
Well, it's because you're being fat phobic towards him. That's
I
why.
know. Because
He's getting
I'm saying
cyberbullied
he
and-
looks great, and it's only because he's in shape. But like, what does that mean? I know. I shouldn't have even brought it up, but it is something that I noticed in the trailer. Like he's got a round face in the trailer.
Sure.
He doesn't look as shredded as he usually
Look,
looks as Drax.
I will bail you out. It is very hard to not compare him to how he looked before because you see him as the character, and the last time we saw this character was 5 years ago, something like that.
Right.
So a lot of
It
time.
was a little bit in Thor.
Okay. Haven't
but-
seen it. Doesn't matter. Don't care.
Doesn't matter. Don't care.
But yeah, like it's hard because a lot of time has passed since we've seen him portray that character, other than the Christmas special or whatever. But even then, he was kind of covered up a little bit. And, so that comparison's easy to make, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Thanks.
So there you go. There you go.
Appreciate it.
Anyway, what'd you think of the trailer?
He just looks so fat now.
Okay. Trash.
Trash. He looks so fat. No, he doesn't look that bad. I mean, I fucking love Guardians, man. 1 and 2, some of my favorite Marvel movies, and I'm very excited to see how they end the story. So there's not really much that they could have done to make me not want to see the movie.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see Will Poulter. I'm excited to see homie who was in Peacemaker as the big bad in this one.
Yeah.
Because he even the brief moment that we had with him, he's got like that like sinister, evil genius kind of thing going on.
Yeah, Chukwudi Iwuji is his name.
I'm excited to see how they play that because they're obviously pulling back some stuff with like Rocket and you know, a perfect society and all this stuff, and you know, a villain with a believable motive.
Yeah, and
He's
personal
always-
stakes in the story too, because
Yeah.
he obviously has hurt Rocket in the past.
Yeah,
So I like that.
yeah.
I want to see more of that.
So
Yeah.
not trash.
Not trash.
Not trash.
Not trash.
Not trash.
And finally, we have
finally
The Flash.
the Flash. I'm the Flash.
Wait a minute.
I'm the Flash. I run really fast. I'm the fastest man on earth. I ran so fast I went back in time. Rachel! To save Rachel. Picked the wrong building again. Oops. I ain't gonna do it again. I picked the wrong building. Where is he?
Oh man, I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, Zack Snyder's not involved, but
Yeah.
it still kind of feels like a Zack Snyder
Sure.
movie.
There's still the sniff of Snyder in there.
James Gunn seems really excited about it, but I kind of feel like he's just hyping it up because he
Right.
needs people to be excited about it.
Like I said before, I don't trust a thing he says about movies he was onboarded on, you know?
Yeah.
Of course he's going to say Blue Beetle looks awesome, right? He has to.
Like, yeah, exactly. What's he supposed to say?
Kind of, you
Like,
know.
fuck that one. Don't worry about that.
We'll make up for it later.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Don't even go see it.
No, of course not. You know, I don't know. As far as the trailer goes, and I'll get this one done in a flash. You know, thank you. Thank you for that quiver. It did its job. It did its job. I enjoyed it. It got me excited because, you know, like, I'm obviously excited about seeing the Batman in this. And it looks like a good movie. Marco, please end this. It's fine.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
They got Batman. That's what I'm
Batman.
saying.
They got Batman.
Yeah. Flashpoint is a good story for the Flash. It's an interesting one. I'm excited to see how they do it on the big screen after seeing the TV show before.
Well, so this kind of brings us back to the Marvel dilemma, right? Where these multiverses, these different dimensions and all this stuff, it's like, where does it end?
Sure.
This Flashpoint story, which in the comic book is awesome and makes and gives a lot of these writers and illustrators kind of free reign to get as creative as possible.
Yeah.
When you apply it to movies, it's like, all right, but if you can just go back in time, what's to stop you from preventing every death and every event that ever happened?
Well, and that they anchor that even in the trailer with Batman saying, well, you could destroy the universe by doing this. Like, you can't do this.
Right.
And it's also anchored. The Flashpoint specifically is such a good story because it's anchored by a very personal story of Barry trying to find a way to save his mom. Right? That's the anchor of it, and that's why it works. So it's not as unhinged as like the multiverse in the MCU or the quantum realm or whatnot. You know, like
we're just existing,
anything
all kinds
can
of crazy,
happen. Yeah. So like I do think they have a leg up on not to compare because you know apples and oranges to a certain degree, but you know I think that they have a leg up on the MCU with that because it seems like this is a very self-contained thing as wide as it spans.
Right.
With Burton's Batman.
Right.
Involved.
Yeah. How do you get Burton's Batman involved? That's the thing. How does that even make any sense?
Because I think it's to say that Batman exists on this Earth, a Burton Earth, if you will.
Burton Earth.
A Burton Earth. Burton Earthy.
Burton
And so Flash goes to that version of Earth.
To get his mom from that version, or to save his mom from that version, or to get help from that. or does he just?
We
get
don't
there?
know.
Okay,
We don't know yet.
Yeah, I guess we don't.
It could be to try to kind of make that his mom, and where he comes up, he meets up with his other version from that world, and maybe that's where he recruits himself to help fight in the world that he screwed up, where he, I guess, got rid of all the superhumans and whatnot.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, so I'm curious.
How does he get rid of the meta-humans?
Just kills them all, snaps all their necks. And we get Zod back.
We get Zod.
Yeah.
We don't get any Henry Cavill, though.
We don't. We instead get Supergirl.
Which, not mad at.
Yeah.
She looks great. Mm-hmm. But I am very curious as to how they're going to explain their way out of
Cavill?
not bringing Henry Cavill back.
He's sleeping.
He was in Black Adam.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that doesn't exist anymore. So
And then, yeah, right.
we don't talk about that.
And then you go to his, now this movie is set in his version of events, his Earth, his dimension, right? And you have his cousin.
Well, maybe Zod happens in a different universe too,
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully he doesn't go back in time to the events of Man of Steel.
Right.
Hopefully it's like a different
Right.
Earth.
Like that thread is inevitable.
It's just going to...
Right.
Yeah, right.
At least in a bunch of universes, Zod comes to Earth and tries to destroy it.
Yeah.
But instead of Kal-El, they have, what's her name? I forget.
Carl.
Carl.
Cargel.
Carl.
Carl.
Coral.
Coral.
Coral. Yeah.
Her name's Kara, but I don't know what her Superman name is.
Her Kryptonian name?
Kryptonian name.
Kara.
Oh, it is Kara.
Kara
Kara
Zor-El.
Zor-El.
Yeah. Yep. So, I don't know. Looks interesting to me. I'll give it a go. Not trash.
I mean, yeah. I don't think it's trash. I'm just a lot of questions asked, which is what I guess you want from a trailer is to
Sure.
open up a lot of doors, and then hopefully the movie does well in answering those questions and closing the door on those things. I'll say, removing my bias of all of the shit that Ezra Miller has gotten into, I'm not that excited about their turn as the Flash. Mm-hmm. I'm excited about everything else that I saw.
Okay.
I want to see more Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
Tim Burton, Michael Keaton. Mm-hmm. Whoever's playing Kara, she looks great. Mm-hmm. So all that shit around them looks fantastic.
Sure.
I've just never been that big a fan of Flash, so I guess maybe I'm a little biased.
Sure.
Flash always just seems like a... This could be another hour, but I'll just say
Yeah.
my biggest thing with DC has always been, and the reason why Batman stands above most DC characters is that most of them are metahumans.
Sure.
So their villains have to be so overpowered.
Sure. Yeah,
because how do you defeat the Flash? Like, think about it from a logistic standpoint. How do you defeat the Flash? He's the fastest person on Earth or in the universe.
People find a way.
Yeah, of course. They get creative with it, but like on the surface level of
How much planning time does Batman have?
Yeah, right. If he's got prep time, then he can take down anybody.
Sure.
But the Flash can run so fast that his molecules can vibrate and he can go through walls.
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
He can do that.
How do you stop that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
So I've always been bothered by how powerful DC characters are, and it's because they're this like wondrous idea of what a superhuman
Sure.
is,
Yeah, yeah.
and they've been around
They're like
for
gods.
200 years, and I get that.
Yeah.
So I'm not
Gods
gonna,
and monsters, if you will.
yeah. Mm-hmm. So I'll say not trash. I am excited about it.
Okay.
Let's just leave it at that.
Cool.
Surprising
Yeah.
to say.
Yeah. Looks pretty
From
good.
like a DC universe.
This is
thing.
this is DC's chance, right? MCU's kind of floundering a little bit.
This is it.
They can swoop in. They can do it.
This movie, and that's why James Gunn, man, he wants this movie. He needs this
Yeah.
movie to
Please.
because this is it. This is
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
Quantumanium's getting bad reviews. It's probably still going to do well at the box office.
Sure
but
will, yeah.
If this movie swoops in, like a year from now, and even
Yeah.
if it does like okay, it's like I don't know, man. Got some competition now.
Could happen.
It's not neck and neck, but it's gonna be fun.
It's only good for everyone involved. Yep.
All right.
Okay.
That was it, right? Last trailer?
Yep.
All right. Well, we're done with all that shit, but there's one last thing. Well, two last things that we have to do. And the first things first, we have to do our cheers of the week. So, Obi, tell the people what your cheers of the week is.
My cheers of the week goes to Metroid Prime Remastered.
Oh, should have known you had it or got it.
This baby got stealth released.
Yeah.
After a Nintendo Direct, and boy howdy. I mean, wowzer. What a remaster and what a surprise it was. I had only played Prime like peripherally. I hadn't ever owned it and like, you know, beaten it, but I think I rented it when I had a GameCube for a little bit. But this is my first time like really playing it, like actually sitting down and playing it for any given amount of hours. And it is incredible. It's such a game ahead of its time.
Yeah.
And it looks so good. Like it looks way better than it has any right to look.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of like, I mean, not like modern, but some of the later Xbox 360 Halo games.
Yeah.
Like it looks like stylized, but also just surprisingly high def for the Switch.
Yeah.
Which is incredibly underpowered.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they make it work, and you can finally use 2 sticks. Ooh. It's nice.
2 sticks.
You can also use the little the what's it called? Not 6-axis, that's PlayStation, but the you know, the thing on the phones and stuff that
Oh,
you know, the gyro.
Yeah, the Gyronomicon.
The Euro.
The Euro.
It's pronounced Euro.
The Euronomicon.
Yeah. I can gush all day about it, but
Euronometer. Euronomer. The Euronomer.
But it's incredible, and I highly recommend anyone who is even remotely interested in Metroid to go ahead and give it a go. I'm also a little biased because I had recently, within like last year, beaten Metroid, Super Metroid.
Yeah.
And there's so many callbacks to it, and to play it in like a first-person perspective and to see how they transformed the entire game into that is really, really cool. Yeah. So highly recommend it.
All right.
Yeah.
Right on.
Very good.
DC. The Nintendo Switch is in this weird place in its life cycle where it almost seems dead, and yet they're still putting out like some of the best games. Like we're getting the Zelda sequel. We got this Metroid game that's come out.
Yeah.
So they're still putting out like really good games on it,
and people are still buying it. People are still buying the console. A lot of people are on their second console of the Switch by this point. You know.
I don't know why you would do that.
Well, they got the new screen.
Oh,
OLED.
yeah, the OLED screen. Yeah,
so a lot of people like that. You know, some people got the smaller one.
Forgot about that.
The whatchamacallit, the mini or whatever.
Yeah, the mini. That shit was a fucking waste of money.
Stupid.
Yeah.
Don't like it.
Sorry to the people who got it. That's so stupid.
Yeah.
It's like $100 more, and they just take away so much in the mini.
It's more? That was less.
No. I'm saying $100 more to get the just get the regular one.
Yeah, the regular Switch.
Yeah.
No, Agreed. Yeah.
Have you played the Dead Space remake yet?
I have not.
Yeah. I'm debating on
Too
because
spoopy.
I
barely survived the original one, so
I'm just kind of like, do I want to spend $70 on a game that, like, if it's exactly the same or even remotely the same, I kind of feel like, why would I spend $70 on an up-res version of a game I already beat?
Well, from what I hear, it's not. So you may be interested in it.
All right.
You know, they changed some story stuff. They changed some levels, and they've apparently added on a lot of the mechanics from part 2.
Yeah.
Into the first one. So
okay.
Sounds like it's a worthy upgrade.
All right. Maybe I will get it.
Yeah. Also, real quick, I was teetering on the fence of doing this as my cheers of the week, but the new Paramore album
Oh, yeah. I haven't listened to it yet. I've heard really, really good things about it.
It actually slaps.
Yeah.
I listened to it today.
Slapperoonie?
Yeah, and I'm not the biggest Paramore fan in general. I was
Really?
far too cool for them when I was younger.
Wow. Who do you think you are?
Well, I'm cool enough
Ain't
now.
it fun?
Yeah, well, yeah. Of course, I enjoyed the singles, but I'm saying like I would never like sit down and listen to a full album. I sat down and listened to this full album. And
You're
my friend,
a silly bitch, you know that?
my friend, Slapperoonie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I bet.
it's good stuff. Good
All
stuff.
right. I'm definitely going to listen to that.
It's fun.
Probably
It's
on the
fun.
way
Yeah,
home.
good instrumentation.
My cheers of the week is going to the author, playwright, screenwriter, James Baldwin.
Aha.
I've been doing a lot of been taking advantage of this Black History Month more so than I have in recent years. Actually taking it seriously.
Okay.
Actually, trying to educate myself a little bit more on certain things that I feel like I was a little bit ignorant on and some stuff. James Baldwin's a person that like I knew who they were, but I didn't know really much about them, and just kind of I don't know. I was just something struck me recently to like learn more about certain figures and certain aspects of like the civil rights movement and Black culture, especially around that time period. So I've been reading a lot about James Baldwin, and I just watched I Am Not Your Negro, the documentary that came out a couple years. I think it was like 2019 it came out.
Saw that in the Indian, actually.
Yeah, you did?
Uh-huh.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very, very good documentary. So basically, he was going to write from the perspective of three different civil rights leaders who had been murdered around the same time.
Yeah.
And he was going to write from their perspectives, or I guess to them, and use his perspective on these three different people to kind of connect the Black identity and Black culture around that time, to try to tell a story of what it meant to be one of these prominent civil rights activists and what it meant to be Black in America at this time. Never got to finish that story, so that's like these private letters pieced together with like different writings and different lectures that he did over the years and stuff. It's a really good documentary.
Yeah.
And just he's just an extraordinary writer, and I just find myself like reading and rereading his stuff and really trying to like devour it in a way that like I haven't in a really long time, like critically read something in a long time.
Yeah.
So it's just been challenging in a way that I haven't intellectually challenged myself in a while. So it's been rewarding.
Good.
So
Yeah.
it's been fun.
Nice.
You know, as devastating and depressing
Sure.
and awful as it is, it's also been very rewarding.
That's good. And again, I highly recommend you listen to the audible book version of Autobiography of Malcolm X.
Oh, yes. Yeah, definitely going to do that.
Just check that out.
Yeah.
Very well done.
All right. I think that's it, right?
Yeah.
Well, can't be it until we do the beer of the week.
Cheer.
So, let's talk about the Roses Kolsch from Red Light Brew Pub. Obi, what did you think?
I thought it was pretty good.
Pretty good.
I think I was expecting it to be a little more sour with the Syrah grape in there. But I didn't get that. I got mostly like a mellowed out version of a Kolsch a little bit. Which ain't bad. Ain't bad. I like it. Easy drinker. Fun little switch up when I am so used to getting the crude Kolsch. I'm gonna give it a 4.5.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to just go unanimous 4.5.
Okay.
I agree. Fun little diversion. from like just the OG crude Kolsch, and the Syrah grapes just kind of add this like tartness to it, this slight fruitiness on the back end of the palate, but doesn't drastically change the beer in any substantial way. But it's nice, especially on like, warmer weather starts rolling around. It's gonna be this one's gonna fly. This is gonna be good. So it's just
Crispy
a nice
girl.
So real refreshing. I dig it. All right.
Yep.
You think we got it?
I know we got it.
Well, then let's get the fuck out of here. This has been the One Beer In podcast for myself, Marco Dupa, and for Adam Obesius Rodriguez.
Yeah, buddy.
Thank you guys for listening. Drink delicious beer and have yourself a beautiful evening.
We love you.